Hi there Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video, and welcome to episode 101 of Ask Boss Bounty. This is the weekly series where you ask me questions in the comment section below, and every week I do my very best to answer them for you. Last time out for episode 100 we did a live stream which was absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for everybody that turned up for that. I think we peaked at like 225 viewers, which might even be a record for my channel. And the chat was just going absolutely crazy. I really couldn't keep up with it. And I think I may have even missed a super chat on there. So I really do apologise to Chris. I do believe I missed your super chat. So I'm really sorry about that, my friend. So this series is continuing past 100. We are on 101 now. So if you do happen to enjoy the video and do happen to enjoy the series on a whole, please drop a like down below. It really does help the video and the channel. Also, I want to thank everybody for watching my video of the PulseCon roundup. That video went absolutely mental, over 12,000 views. So thank you so much for that as well. And also, I will be attending a Hasbro Q&A. I'm starting to get the questions together for that. That's going to be in a week or so. Can't wait to do that. And if you're a Patreon or channel member, then you get to help me construct those questions, because I really do like to get you guys involved. Anyway, that's enough of me mumbling on. Let's get straight on to the first question of the week. Greyman80 says, what would a rough estimate be on how much it would cost to collect the original 96? Loose but decent standard figure. Cheers, great channel. Well, that all depends really whether you were to buy them in bulk. Let's just say that you found somebody that wanted to sell their entire collection. Then I would probably estimate anywhere between $5,500 to $7,000, depending on condition. I would hazard a guess at. If you were to buy them singly, then obviously you can look at paying a little bit more than that. Parsec5150 says, hey Tim, great episode as always. Love the Tony Montana desk homage. Leads me into my question for next week. With many small set pieces like Emperor's Throne, Grogu's Pram and the Cantina Bar sections so iconic and needed for world building, do you think the vintage collection line as a whole is capable of supporting a deluxe figure subline that could include such pieces, either on the card or a window box? And what would be some of your picks? May the force be with you. Well, Parsec5150, I think that you could possibly be a mind reader, because obviously this question was posed about a week ago, and since then we've had PulseCon 2021, and what was announced? A deluxe figure of the Mandalorian, including miniature spiders and things like that, which I actually was really pleased with. It does show diversity in the line. It shows that they can have different expressions and different packaging and things like that, and I absolutely loved it. So there you go, that's your answer. Yes, they can, because they have done it. Other ones that I would like to see would include maybe things like the Mortar Trooper with the miniature mortar. I think that might fit in a normal bubble, but maybe you could give him some other accessories like the shells and stuff that go in with it. That's a possibility. You could look at the Ewok hang glider, for example. That might fit on one of those bigger bubbles. So there's quite a lot of possibilities there. And of course there's bigger figures like Paz Vizsla with his big backpack and the big chain gun thing. That might not fit on a normal card. So perhaps this now opens up for those sorts of characters. And also in terms of like miniature boxed items, it would be really cool if they would do something like they used to do with the mini rigs. This is like the perfect way to get sort of smaller accessories out, like the tripod cannon and things like that. This sort of thing would be awesome, and I'd love them to produce vintage collection items in little boxes like that. That'd be awesome. David Felix says, congrats on making it to the 100th episode. My question is kind of simple. What vehicle that we haven't had made would you want for the vintage collection or Black Series? That's quite an easy one for me. I mean, if I was looking at the original trilogy, I think the one that really is missing is Darth Vader's TIE Fighter. I don't really think that they've ever made a definitive Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, so now's the chance, you know, in the vintage collection. And then also maybe the U-Wing or something like that. I know the U-Wing that we got in the 5POA line wasn't really to scale. Maybe that would be a Haslab project, and maybe because of that it would never get off the ground. But I would, you know, I'd love to see a U-Wing, especially after seeing how well they did Antok Merrick. I mean, of course, you know, a U-Wing pilot would be quite nice as well, wouldn't it? Just Capster asks, with the droids line with the coin in mind, can we get more, including the Power of the Force 85 style? It would be like recollecting hundreds of figures if they put out with the coins again. Honestly, an easy way for late collectors to start collecting too. The Power of the Force coin line won't have to be limited to the original releases. We can use all the available media. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously with those droids figures with the coin, that opens up the possibility. I think it really does. I mean, this one here is one of the only ones that I have that's an original, and then of course we've got the Yak face in the vintage collection. And yeah, the fact that we've got the droids one, as I say, it does open up the possibility. The only issue that I have with it is that we have a few of them from the last 17 already. So we have Luke Stormtrooper and we have Lando General. And I was only talking about this to a friend the other day, and he was saying that you could really see Luke Stormtrooper being put onto one of those cards with a coin and selling pretty well. But would they really be able to sell another Lando General? I mean, it would be the 4th time we have that figure, so it would be a very dangerous thing for them to do. It would probably peg warm. Maybe it'd have to be limited in some way to an exclusive, dare I say it, but that's the way they could limit that figure. But yeah, who knows what's going to happen in the future? I think, you know, with the extra $1 or $2 that they're charging for the ones with the coins, no one seemed to have a problem with that or complained. And you are getting a bit extra for your money. And let's face it, they are seriously cool. So I'd be very happy for them to do that. IBLFT man says, once Hasbro finally does all 96 figures, will you be inclined to continue the vintage collection? There are plenty more background characters in the PT, OT to do and video game plus Mando offerings. I doubt Hasbro will bother to do many more sequel trilogy TVC as it's not well received. So yeah, I'm not sure if I've ever given the impression that I'm, you know, specifically out for the original 96. I know I do a video on the whole finish the 96 thing, but I love the fact that you can get a Revenge of the Sith figure or a Mandalorian figure on the vintage style card backs, and there's absolutely no way that I would stop collecting them once they finish the 96. That's just not my intention at all. I guess there could be some collectors out there that only want the original 96 and that's it, but no, for me, I want them to carry on. I want them to make as many as they possibly can. And yeah, you're right. The sequel trilogy for me would be the last in the line. Sean Curry says, the bigger question is what R2 unit is in Merrick's X-Wing in Rogue One and why didn't Hasbro produce one for the set? Guess it doesn't matter. I missed it when Target put it up for sale in the middle of the night. And obviously this question was a week ago and I do believe that the X-Wing has been easier to get. You'll have to let me know in the comments, but I believe everyone that I know that wanted one managed to get one in some way. I do believe they went back up on the Target website, for example, and people were finding them in stores. But in terms of the R2 unit, yeah, absolutely. It would have been nice if we'd got that figure. The nearest version that you are going to get is actually in a Droids Depot pack from the Disney parks. It's the one that includes the chopper style droid. I will put an image of that on the screen now. He has the red body and the R2D2 type dome, which is exactly what he looks like. So that's probably your best bet in trying to create that figure for the X-Wing. Mighty Makoko says, hey boss, question for next week, episode 101. How would you feel if we got Mon Mothma as the bonus never originally produced from Kenner special figure for the Return of the Jedi wave of retro collection figures? Do you think it's a good possibility or maybe even a Slave Leia? Also, since the retro collection is really taking off, could we hope for Mandalorian retro vehicles animals yet? Sorry if I missed the live stream, but excellent work and grats on 100 dude. Thank you so much, my friend. So let me just break this down first of all. Okay, so the Mon Mothma, that is a great idea. I honestly believe that's a really, really good idea. As that extra never released before figure, that's a great idea. And I don't think they'd ever do Slave Leia. So Mon Mothma, that's a really good idea. In terms of the retro collection animals and vehicles, I think I've said this before, I would rather they didn't do that. I would rather they would save that for the vintage collection personally. Cactus Max says, hi boss, new subscriber and big fan of the channel. Question for next week. Do you agree, disagree that Hasbro should announce prices for upcoming Haslab projects a couple of months in advance? They could announce the prices without revealing the projects in advance and give collectors a chance to save, plan their finances around them, as some of us would love to have had these things but can't always justify spending the money at the time. Thanks to keep up the good work. I can understand your point behind this, and it is unfortunate that you only have like a small window of say 45 days or whatever it is to back these things and for people to sort of get their finances in order to be able to afford them. But I don't think they're going to be able to sort of announce the price, you know, when they originally announced the product. So, you know, however long ago it was that they announced the Rancor, I don't think it's wise to announce the price, because if you've got nothing to show anybody, no images or anything, then you're kind of sort of setting themselves up to be criticised right off the bat. I personally think the Rancor is a little bit overpriced, and if I'd known what it would cost without even seeing it, then I would have probably been even worse. So I don't think they can do that. You need to be able to see at least concepts of exactly what it's going to be and the price. Having said that, I do like what they've done with the Haslab for G.I. Joe. They've actually announced what the stretch goals are going to be and at what point ahead in advance. That would be awesome for Star Wars if they did that, and then you can see how many people you need to get those things. It's a really great incentive and sort of, you know, just announcing them as you pass these certain goals. I think they've done it right with the G.I. Joe. Neil Lowry says, "Hi Tim, it was great to see you on PulseCon 21. Yep, I was on that fan wall. That was a good day. It was quite funny. Well deserved. Question for next week. I know why they didn't, but I was hoping they would have placed a 3.75 inch in the hand or mouth of the new Rancor. Do you think TVC could still pass in scale if displayed with the Rancor?" Yeah, so how big is the Rancor compared to a person? It's hard to see on the screen, but they have compared him to the size of a Black Series figure, and obviously it fits in the hand and everything. I don't think it would necessarily look too out of place in the vintage collection, but I do feel it has been specifically scaled for the Black Series. What I would like them to show was them putting the Gamorrean guard in the mouth. They did say that most figures can fit, and that's the one you really want to be able to fit, right? You want the Gamorrean guard in that mouth of the Rancor. So anyway, I'm still undecided whether I'm going to back it or not. I want to see what the stretch goals are going to be, so I'm going to leave it very, very late. But there's a chance I won't, especially with the G.I. Joe one, because man, I think I do want that. Nino Brown says, question for next week. Would the Walker tank and gunship qualify for Haslabs? The interior of both vehicles can be increased along with the overall scale. The answer to that, my friend, is yes. I think the gunship deserves and is of the scale that could be a Haslab project. I think that the one that we got in the vintage collection isn't too bad. You can fit the figures in it and everything, but I think the sort of gun turrets on the side just look a bit too big for the vehicle. I don't know if you agree on that, but I've always thought that. So yeah, I mean, if they could scale that up ever so slightly, that would be awesome. All right then guys, that's it for this week's episode. Please leave your questions in the comment section below for next week's episode 102. Looking forward to doing it already. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and channel members. It means a lot to me, so thank you so much. Thank you all for watching, and we shall see you on the next one.